Frustration remains with a sense, man, I'm lost in love's limbo. I'm lost in love's limbo. So what can I do? Do I try to get her back or look for somebody new? My silent brain's all screwed up. Should I make her stay or leave? Do I hurt the one I love, or is it me who is to blame? But what if I'm wrong? Should I write a different song? Oh, I'm so mixed up, I don't know what to do. So is there anyone who can help me get through this heartache? Lost in love's limbo, what can I do? The house seems so silent, my feelings are mixed, like the faded colors of time, all left behind. My silent brain's all screwed up. Should I make her stay or leave? Do I hurt the one I love, or is it me who is to blame? But when will I know if you'll see me again? Will you send a letter, email me, or even text a friend? So is there anyone who can help me get through this heartache? Lost in love's limbo, what can I do? I'm lost in love's limbo, so lost in love's limbo, lost in love's limbo. Certainly, a lot of these songs, even like I'm Lost in Love's Limbo, it can lead one to derive metaphors or analogies that happen in other areas in life, particularly in my case, the neurosurgery world. While you're in the process of taking care of a patient, there's a lot of limbo feelings involved when you're not sure what the outcome is going to be. One such case involves a 3-year-old boy who is shopping with his father at one of the major grocery stores in Washington, D.C. Now, in my day, a bubblegum machine was very small. You put a penny in, you pulled the lever, and out you got a little ball of bubblegum. By the time I took care of this patient, the bubblegum machines were the size of mailboxes. They were huge, and you had to put a quarter in and to get the reward of the bubblegum. Well, the little boy went over to the bubblegum machine, and with the help of his father, he put the quarter in the machine, and then when they went to push it in, the machine came loose and fell over, trapping the little kid on the floor between the bubblegum machine. So his head was trapped in, and he immediately went into coma. They were able to get the machine off, and they drove him by ambulance in an emergency to Holy Cross Hospital in Silver Spring, Maryland, and I was called. I mentioned that I preferred to do all my children's cases at the Children's National Medical Center in Washington, D.C. However, there simply wasn't enough time, so I had to do it there. As I went into the hospital, one of the nurses grabbed me and said, Dr. Stopak, I want to alert you that his father is a law professor at one of the universities. I said, fine. I went over and I met the gentleman who was, terrified. And again, I used the same kind of statements that I said before. You don't know me and I don't know you, but your son has a very serious head injury. He needs a brain operation. I don't have time to fool around with you. Just say yes or no, otherwise you're going to lose your son. And I don't know how he's going to turn out. He says, go. So I went ahead and operated on the little boy. And sure enough, the operation took a couple of hours, but afterwards it went very well. And even in the recovery room, he woke up. And they actually extubated him, and he was doing fine, breathing on his own. And the first words out of his mouth were, I want my bubble gum. Well, I thought he was safe there. It was about 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, and rather than transfer him over to Children's, I thought I'd wait a few hours till the morning. I went home and had a fitful night's sleep, and every hour we called the intensive care unit to find out that he was doing fine. Finally, I awoken with a start around 5 o'clock, 5:30, and I called there, and they said the boy is in trouble because apparently he had blown one of the alveolar sacs in his lungs, and he had a collapsed lung. So I said, well, stabilize him. So they reintubated him and got everything under control, and then transferred him over to a Children's Hospital. He went over to Children's Hospital, where he made a very smooth recovery afterwards. And as a matter of fact, I saw this boy and his father 15, 20, and 25 years later, and he's had an absolutely normal life. But going back to the original story, here's what happened. Next, the father, who was a lawyer, justifiably wanted to sue and the people that built the machine. So the case came to a court in Montgomery County in Maryland. I was the expert witness for the case, and so I go to the court, and I'm on the witness stand. And for the first 2 or 3 hours, the defense attorney was a real tough son of a gun, and he was grilling me mercilessly. So it gets to be about 10:30. I guess it was about from 9 to 10:30, and then there was a break. So there's a break for 15 minutes, and I go outside. And as I went outside, one of the jurors came over to me and said, are you any relation to Charlie Stopak? I said, well, yes, he's my brother, but I can't talk to you. Why do you ask? He said, well, he works with my father at the television station. I said, fine, but I can't talk to you. And then I go back to the stand, and as I take the witness stand, the other lawyer comes over saying he wants a mistrial because he saw Dr. Stopak cavorting with the jurors. So I said, oh my gosh, this whole morning is shot, the case is done. And the judge leans over to me and he says, come tell me what happened. So I went with the judge and the other lawyer, and I recounted this little dialogue that I had. And the judge doesn't say anything. He said, let's continue. So then we continue on. So then lunchtime comes, and I dutifully go in the corner and of the cafeteria, and for the hour there, I just stay by myself, read the newspaper, whatever, and then don't say a word to anybody. I go back to the court, and I go onto the stand, and the judge leans over to me and he says, are you any relation to Jack Stopak? I said, well, yeah, he was my brother. Unfortunately, he was 45. He's a cardiologist, and we just lost him. He died from a heart attack. He said, I know. He was a very good friend of mine. He sat next to me at Georgetown when we were in undergraduate school. So can you believe, first of all, one of the jurors knew one of my brothers, and the judge knew one of my brothers also. So the case continues, and it goes on for the rest of the afternoon. And the tough grilling keeps on by by their lawyer. Finally, he gets to a point where he says, so, Dr. Stopak, isn't the reason that this little boy had any trouble was that there was a hole blown in his lung and his lung collapsed, and that's what caused the problem. And they said that I rose very slowly up, very kind of dramatically and quietly, with a crescendo in my voice saying, no, not at all. That's wrong. The reason this little boy had any problem was that when he and his father put the money into the bubblegum machine. It was a faulty bubblegum machine that fell over, trapping his head between the machine and the floor, crushing his head, causing him to come into Holy Cross Hospital in extremis, dying of a severe head injury, necessitating a brain operation on an emergency basis to save his life. The defending lawyer says, "That's not what I asked you." I said, "That's my answer." And I sat down, didn't say another word, and naturally our side did win the case for a substantial reward.